Hi everyone, welcome back to another gameplay of PTD6. So this video is gonna be a little different from the usual because I've been asked in the comments different times to show you tower list. So pretty much classifying different towers depending on their utility, especially for chimps. And yeah, I'm gonna finally do it. So I've written down here a list of not every single one of the towers, just the ones that are the most important, and then also I've written down here the heroes. And I just want you to I'm just gonna to comment on my choice. Remember, this is just my personal choice, so you may not agree with it, and that's totally fine. But I'm just gonna share with you based on my experience and based on like how much I played the game, what are in my opinion the best towers for chimps, and then going on with the rank. So I've created 6 different tiers for the towers, and this is just talking about chimps. So remember, this is just chimps, not normal, so not impossible, not hard, and not medium, it's just chimps. So I've created an SS tier because it's like S plus tier. It's just the towers that are so good that can't be classified as an S tier. They are above that, and you can find I placed 7 towers there: the Avatar of Wrath, the Permaspike, Sub Commander, Apache Prime, and Overclock, Engineer, First Stroke Capability, and 3+ Alchemist. So these 3+ means the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th upgrade of the Alchemist. So I think these towers are pretty well known. I don't really think I need to spend any time. The Avatar of Wrath, very strong tower. Of course, these towers I've classified them as SS, but you always gonna need to build a strategy around these towers. So even if you build like a sub commander by itself, the sub commander, even if it's very good, it's not gonna be able to beat everything. You're gonna need to build like more subs, or to build an alchemist, a village, some helis, something else to be able to then beat all the 100 rounds. So every one of these towers is not invincible by itself. It's gonna do a lot of damage, but you need to always build a strategy around them. And yeah, so Permaspike as well, very nice. Sub Commander and 502 Heli, so Apache Prime. And then I placed also Overclock and the Alchemist, because even if these 2 towers are like supporting towers, so they're not gonna really do a lot of damage to the Bloons, but their role in buffing other towers is so strong that they must be classified an SS. So they're just so good. So Overclock and Alchemist go in this list, no problem. I've also placed the first stroke capability because in the advanced and on the expert maps, it's an ability that you like you always gonna end up using, especially if the map has a little bit of water. Is the one that you're gonna almost surely use, because that makes sure that you can destroy the VAD and you don't have to deal with the DDTs and the Zomegats. So you can clear up everything in one go. And especially if your strategy is not really that good against the VAD, many times using first stroke capability can really solve you up, because you can pop the VAD just before it leaks, and that's the only way to do it is just by using first stroke capability. So that's why I placed also the sub in the SS tier. Now moving on to the S tier, here I placed the towers that are very strong and that can really make an impact on the game. They can't do much by themselves. Again, you always need a strategy around these towers, but their help is very relevant. So for example, the blowback heli, in this case, can be the 3rd or the 4th upgrade of the heli in the middle path. So also the support chain hook. In many strategies, you know, you need to move towers around. Imagine like bloody puddles or anything else, and with the support chain hook you can do it quite easily. plus of course the blowback on the Bloons, very important. Then the MAB village or the 4th and the 5th upgrade in the middle path of the village, also very important, to be able to destroy DDTs primarily, so that your towers can always destroy DDTs. Plus with the 4th upgrade you have the activated ability that's going to increase attack speed, and with the 5th upgrade you get the extra pierce as well. And it's a tower that it's widely used, especially when you're trying to achieve 2 million pops on Chimps. So 0.5, for example, 250 village or 0.52 village, it's very used. Then I place also the Sabo, so Ninja of course, slowing down the Bloons, especially on the harder maps, and for DDTs it's very effective. 0.40 Spike Factory is the exactly equivalent of first strike capability, but for the maps where you don't have water, or when you're using a slightly different strategy and you need to like do more damage to the BD. The activated ability from the Spike Factory comes really handy, and it's just a very good, so S tier. Then 0.24 Boomerang, so the mob press, very nice, dealing damage, knocking backwards mob class Bloons, so giving more time for your stronger towers to destroy everything. The same goes for the Glue Gunner, so 0.13 or 0.23 Glue Gunner to slow down mob class Bloons. 0.32 Glue Gunner in this case is just to glue all the ceramics, so in this case it's more slow for the ceramics. This glue is for mob class Bloons, instead this one is for ceramics. 301 or 302 Super Monkey as well, Sun Avatar being quite good, and the knockback effect, the overall nice range damage, so it's an S tier tower for my opinion. Main mob Sniper, so once again something to stun mob class Bloons, to slow their advance, to give more time for your other towers to finish everything off. And then also placed the 0.3 X Alchemist, so the Concussion Alchemist. In my opinion, the best one is to go like with a 0.32 Alchemist, because you can in that way increase the attack speed, so you can apply more times the Concussion, but many times also leaving it 0.30 works, so that's why I placed an X there. And that's pretty much it. So these are the towers that are S tier, so they're very good, and in many cases you're gonna end up placing them and using them to you can see that most, other than the 301 Super Monkey, most of these towers are supporting towers, so like Boomerang, Glue Gunner, Spike Factory, Ninja, Village, the Blowback Heli, so towers that are gonna end up giving you more time to destroy all the Bloons. Now continuing on, the A tier is towers that in my opinion are quite good to use, but that their use is limited, so in many maps these towers may not work, and so that's why I placed them on A tier, so that's the choice. So 250 Boomerang, so the perma how it's called, the perma charge, so the perma charge Boomerang, being quite strong. I've seen different gameplays from a legendary mob, and he really makes the strategy around it, and it's very good. But on many maps with obstacles or built in a certain way, the Boomerang, this perma charge is not that strong. There are better towers, so that's why it goes to A tier. Then 520 bomb, so the perma stun bomb, I don't remember the name, yeah, Bloon Crush, also quite nice, can be used in many different maps. I can really not only damage but also stun mob class Bloons, so it's quite nice. I placed it in tier A because it's quite expensive, so you're not gonna be able to get it quite easily, and so you need to survive without a stun on the mobs until you can afford it, so it's not easy sometimes, so that's why it goes to A tier. 520 tech shooter and also 205 tech shooter go in the 8-hour list. Inferno Ring and the how's it called, the other one, the Tag Zone. They're good. Their range is a little limited. Well, until you get the Tar 5 upgrade, at least it is a little bit limited. But then once you get the 5th upgrade, you have a much larger range, and their damage is also quite nice. They can destroy all Bloon types, and you just need, in this case, to give to them like camo detection. I think the Tag Zone can destroy also camo Bloons by itself already. Instead, the Inferno Ring needs camo detection. But anyway, very strong towers, but not as strong as the ones in S and SS tier, so that's why they belong to A tier. 025 Ice Tower, so also the Perma Spike, no sorry, how it's called, the Icicle Impale, yeah, this one. Also quite useful to slow down the Bloons. It's not just damage, it's also the slow. But again, it's not super useful, so that's why it goes to A tier. Carrier Flagship, so 5XX Buccaneer. With the recent buffs, it's pretty nice. It's gonna boost your water-based towers attack speed. You can attack everywhere on the map, so it's pretty nice, but of course it's not as good as the other towers, so that's why it belongs in A tier. The same for the 5XX Ace, so the what's called, the Sky Shredder. You can pop all Bloon types with it. It covers the entire map, but it's not super good, or it's not as good as the other towers. The same goes for the 203 or 204 Ace, so the Spectre or Never Miss Targeting. So Never Miss Targeting is the 3rd, then you have the Spectre with the 4th, also quite good, but in the late game they're not really that strong. You're gonna need a lot of other towers or to place more Spectres to be able to do enough damage. And I'm not even considering the Flying Fortress because it's just too expensive. So normally on Chimps you will never be able to afford it. So so yeah, that's why it's not even here. Then I placed the biggest one, so 520 Mortar, Archmage, 502 Wizard, the Wizard Lord Phoenix also 052 Wizard, Grandmaster Ninja 502, and then I've also included the 203 or 204 Super Monkey. With the recent buffs, now the fact that you can change the position of the Super Monkey with the Dark Shift ability, it makes them pretty nice because you can like relocate them, and so you can cover a much larger portion of the map. And yeah, so they're a pretty good tower. It's not super good, that's why they belong to A tier as the other ones, but yeah, they can be a pretty nice choice. And you can see that many of these towers in certain maps could be the favorites to go with the strategy. For example, on Quad or on Ouch, Grandmaster Ninja strategy is still pretty good, I think. So even if the tower itself is classified as an A tier, for my opinion, there are some strategies built around them that require them to be used. The same goes for an Archmage or Wizard or Phoenix, or like the biggest one. So that's why they're good towers. They're not as good as these ones because these ones are like almost a must. So you're always going to build at least 1 or 2 of these S tier or SS tiers tower, but they can be used pretty often. Now on B tier, I didn't really know at this stage what to do, because there were still a lot of towers to cover, and so I didn't really know how to do the tier. So on B tier, I placed towers that are not that good, right? So they're good, but they're also kind of bad. Can be used sometimes on Chimps in certain scenarios, so with a certain specific strategy or on a certain specific map, but that on most of the times they're not gonna really be that useful. For example, the 025 dart, so the how it's called, the crossbow master. Then the 502 rank, so the glaive lord. Yeah, I don't remember all the names, but the 3rd, 4th, and 5th upgrade for the middle path of the bomb. The activated abilities can be quite useful, and in some strategies you can't really build them to like take down mob class balloons much quickly. I've also seen recently some mob maulers strategies, just spamming them and beating certain even like very difficult maps, but it's just a very specific way to use them. Normally you're never gonna go with a mob mauler spawn, so a spam, so yeah, that's why for me it's like a B tower. Also Bomb Blitz goes here, 04 or 052 ice tower. I placed it on B tier because sometimes you're gonna use the ice tower to freeze the water so that you can then place more towers on top of water. It can be useful in certain maps, for example, like imagine Peninsula or imagine Quad. And so that's why I placed it on B tier. I didn't place it on A tier because like if you compare the ice tower with these other towers, it's clear to see that it's like inferior, so that's why it belongs to B. 402 sub, so the Bloons Reactor as well can be interesting with the recent buffs. It's quite a nice tower to have to reduce the cooldown, pretty nice damage, can pop blood balloons, but it scales off very badly on the late game. So on the late game you do very little amount of damage to super ceramics and to mob class balloons, so it's very useful early on, then on the late game it's just quite bad. I've placed also the 040 or 050 ace, so the Tsar Bomba, the how's it called, the ground zero and Tsar Bomba, because I've seen some strategies involving them and using them, but especially on Chimps, like I haven't really seen them that much, and there are just many better upgrades to use, so that's why I just place it on B tier. Comanche Commander as well here, 024 or 025 mortar, so the mortar that removes the fortified status from the balloons can be useful, especially around 98. Sometimes building it can be useful, and also Bloon Incineration, doing a lot of damage, burning mob class balloons very nicely, but they're not gonna be as useful as the A tier towers, and so that's why I placed them on the B tier. 205 Wizard, so the Prince of Darkness, this one. With the recent buffs, it's pretty nice tower. I've used it different times, but it just depends too much on well, the exact balloons that you can destroy with the ghost balloons, and like especially depending on where the zombie balloons are gonna spawn, means that you're gonna be able to pop more balloons in that round or less balloons, so you're gonna be able to spawn stronger balloons, stronger zombie balloons or not. So it's just a bunch of RNG involved, and that's why it's not really that reliable. Same for the Bloon Master Alchemist, can be pretty useful. It's very expensive, and then the bad thing is that for the balloons that you can't reduce to red balloons, you have still to pop them. So you need always a strategy, a very specific strategy to build it around it so that you can use it. Same goes for the 500 village, so for the ballista village, can be useful, especially if you're going with a primary strategy, for example like a balloon crush or you know, a perma charge, something like that, because it's going to boost those primary towers even more, plus the ballista damage. And then finally I placed the Bloon Trap Engineer, so the 4th or the 5th upgrade. It's an upgrade that I haven't really used that often, but for what I've seen, like XXL Trap, so the 5th upgrade, is pretty nice. So it just depends once again on RNG, and on Chimps you're not gonna get any extra cash, you're gonna just get the cash from destroying the balloons normally. And again, it just depends on RNG, on where is gonna be placed. But I mean, for what I could use, is pretty nice. It's not, of course, as strong as the other towers. That's why it goes to B tower, but it's pretty interesting. Then on C tower, I've placed the towers that sometimes I've used for chimps, but that they're pretty bad overall. For example, the Ultra Juggernaut Dark Monkey, only in certain very specific maps can be useful. In the other maps, it's just plain bad. The 4th or 5th upgrade in the middle path for the attack shooter, so the Maelstrom, the Blade Maelstrom, the Super Maelstrom. The Maelstrom can be used sometimes, especially like for half cash or in certain scenarios, because then you can sell it. But because on chimps you can't sell anything, that's why on chimps is a pretty bad tower. 5-0 Blue Gunner as well. I've seen some strategies involving the Bloons solver, but overall it's just not that reliable, so it goes to C tower. The same goes for the Elite Sniper, the Elite Defender, so this one right here. The middle path for the Mortar, so the Pop and All Mortar. So yeah, Artillery Battery and Pop and All. I've seen as well some strategies with these two, with the star upgrade, but it's not really that good, and so I goes to C tower. I've also used it myself, but it requires a very specific upgrade, going with Captain Jones, you know, stuff like that. So 205 Ninja, also I've used it sometimes. The Master Bomber Ninja is pretty nice, but of course you then need to deal with the ceramics, so you lack a lot the damage on the ceramics, so you need then a strategy to be able to destroy ceramics. So that's why it goes to C tower. And then at 050 Buccaneer, I added it afterwards because, like the Pirate Lord, the activated ability can be quite useful, but you need a very specific strategy to slow a lot map class Bloons, because otherwise they're gonna just get closer and closer and closer to the end. You're not gonna be able to use the activated ability enough times, and you're gonna end up having Bloons sneaking past. And the same goes for the middle path of the Dark Monkey, so the Plasma Monkey Fan Club, this one. And so, I mean, I've used it just once. I could also write down here the 0x5x Alchemist as well, because these two, before they nerfed them, were a very strong combo, but actually it was like the 04 plus Dark Monkey and 050 Alchemist, but now like I almost never have used the strategy again, so so yeah. And then I placed here a garbage tower. So these towers are the ones that you're never gonna use for your gameplays because they're just plain bad. So even if they're quite cheap and you could be able to like afford them and build them, you can see here Super Brittle being very cheap, and they're just plain bad. So Super Brittle, Ice Tower, don't build it, it's just super bad. Range is very small, and the actual benefit that you have is just so small that it's just better to build anything else. The same goes for the top tier of the Spike Factory. It's just plain bad, like from the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th. Very expensive, so the 5th one you're never gonna be able to use it on chimps, but even the other ones are just bad. It's a lot better to get the middle or the bottom path, so never use those upgrades. And then finally also the top path for the Engineer. Unfortunately, the last 3 upgrades, so from this one until Century Paragon, is not as good as it looks like. So I've used it I think just once, but you rely a lot on RNG, on exactly when the sentry guns are gonna be spawning, when they explode. It's just too much RNG, so it's just bad. And yeah, those are the towers that I recommend you to never use on chimps. There are many others. And you can see that also I haven't covered every single tower. I just covered the ones that I personally have used and I think are the most important ones. For example, I haven't said anything about the super monkey. So for example, the dark champion, the middle path, so robot monkey, dark terror, the sun temple. I haven't said anything on chimps because like the temple is just too expensive, so normally you're not gonna be able to build it. And then second thing is that also the middle path can be used on chimps. Don't get me wrong, you can use the activated ability, it's just nice, but there are so many better uses for super monkey, like building with the bottom path upgrade or with the sun avatar, that that's why I haven't covered the middle path upgrade. Now last thing, I just wanted to do a quick overview about heroes. I placed in this case 2 different tires, one for chimps and one for normal games, because it's gonna make a huge difference. The main difference is that on chimps, Benjamin is a garbage hero. It's gonna actually make you earn more cash, so you're gonna get less cash than usual. You're gonna lose cash when you're playing on chimps using Benjamin, so it's just bad. With Ezili, it's just a garbage hero on chimps. Instead on normal, he's in my opinion, he's an S-star hero, because you can increase your income, you have very nice abilities, the Bloons Trojan virus. So yeah, you can see Benjamin is the only hero that changes between like chimps and normal. In chimps is a garbage hero, in normal it's a very strong hero. The other ones are like exactly the same. S-star, Quincy, Gwen, Obin, A-star Pat, because in this last patch has been nerfed. Before this last patch I would have placed Pat right here on the S-star, but because now his level 3 ability is much weaker, I just placed him on Tar A. Then Jones, Brickle and Adora as well, A-tar, depending on the situation, depending on the map, you could build a pretty nice strategy around them. They can be pretty useful, so that's why they go to A-tar. B-tar Churchill, just because the fact it's very expensive and it's gonna level up very slowly, and on chimps these 2 things are very bad, so that's why like Churchill, it's the bottom tar for chimps pretty much of heroes. And then garbage tar, Ezili and Ben. Ezili once again, very low utility. You need a very specific strategy. She's gonna level up very slowly, so it's just bad. And also Ben, because you're gonna lose cash. Instead in normal it's exactly the same. So Ezili, I just placed her on C tar this time and not garbage tar, because if you play on normal and you have monkey knowledge, you can like spend the cash to level them up if you are placing farms. So you know, her last levels are pretty nice, but you need to get there. So that's why it's C tar and not garbage tar anymore, normal. But other than that, everything is exactly the same, other than Ben, as I said before. And yeah, this is my personal tar list, sorry, for towers and for heroes. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.